joining us in a moment. Brother Baird, would you like to open us in prayer?
Yes, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you right now and we thank you for your having heard our cry and attended to our prayer. We ask, Lord, in this time of volatility and potential violence and danger of catastrophic operations that would affect the entire world, we ask, Lord, for your hand to be upon us and that you watch out and watch over your people and those people that you are going to be sealing in the end times. Protect us, provide for us, and help us, we pray. And Lord, help us to deny our flesh and turn to you and embrace you and your pathways of righteousness and truth, justice and mercy, and your great love and grace toward us. In the name of your Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I say amen. Brother Mac, you may have audio turned on your PowerPoint. Check and see. I hear a little bit of
No, I
background
don't
noise.
think I do. Because
I don't hear any echo at all.
Okay, no echo? Good.
No.
Okay. Praise the Lord. Everybody, welcome aboard. We're going to get started. We just open up with prayer. And, gentlemen, welcome back. The mic is yours. You got all the time you want.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. And I think before we get started with Zechariah, let's pass on a little bit of news.
Yes.
We got some this afternoon. And I think the first one, and I'm going to have Major Baird comment on it because he's a little more military oriented. But apparently Russia has moved into the Strait of Hormuz.
Mm-hmm. Just now.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more.
Well, Russia sent out 3 cruisers or 3 ships, 2 cruisers and a corvette. I don't know what the difference is. I just know they're ships. I'm an infantry guy. I don't know those things. And so anyway, they went out through the Black Sea and through the strait there in near Istanbul, and then into the Mediterranean through the Suez Canal over into the Indian Ocean, and have just now entered in our patrolling actively right now in the southern end of the 14-mile wide restricted area, or constricted, I shouldn't say restricted, constricted area in the Strait of Hormuz, countering the presence of the U.S. Navy and U.S. military assets that are in the Middle East there. Essentially causing what I would call in a chess move the checkmate of the Queen. The Queen being the military operations of the United States, with Russia now countering that and calling our bluff. I sent a link to that to both you, Tom, and to you, Shannon, both.
I get it.
But you've been on the air, so I don't know if you've had any chance to review it at all. But it essentially has that same information, and essentially the first battle or first cruiser is a guided missile, naval ship-to-ship missile, and it has about a 500 kiloton, which is about 1,000-pound warhead on it. It's about I can't remember the name of it, but it's 12,000 pounds. it's 12,000 tons that it displaces. So it's one of the bigger, heavier ships. And in fact, it's probably the heaviest ship in the entire armada of ships there in the Middle East. The second one is an anti-submarine with advanced sonar and torpedoes and all this kind of stuff and depth charges. And then the third one is the Corvette that is armed and carries its precision munitions at the same time as well. And it also, among them, they have the S-300 anti-missile missiles.
It's a surface-to-air missile,
Yeah, surface-to-air missile. Yep. So,
meaning they're ready to go after our planes if they come over.
yep, yep.
Gentlemen, have the Russians made any official statement of their intentions?
No, they have
That's
simply communicated by action and no words at this point. There's
so far.
so far. They may have sent a back channel, but we would not know that because those things are secret at this point and they wouldn't be divulged.
We should probably assume the worst, that is their intentions to
Well,
go
they
up
can't
against us.
they can't take on the United States Navy. If they open fire on the United States Navy, there's so much overwhelming firepower and
What if they were to say, though, we're here as a mediator,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we're not going to allow Iran to attack your boats, and we want this channel opened up. Now, that'd be great.
that would
But
be.
but we don't know if that's what they're planning to do, or if they're basically going to back up Iran, who may continue to attack, and we dare you to fight back because now we're tag teaming
We're
it.
supporting them. That's correct. Yeah.
So how do you know what's going to be the next move?
Well, they
we
haven't
won't-
officially aligned with Iran. That's one thing we do know. They haven't
Yeah,
officially, but we probably won't get an official mention until tomorrow our time.
mhm.
I know it's Monday out in your neck of the woods, but they're going to respect that Eastern time is still quite a few hours off.
Yeah.
And over the weekend, didn't they just kill about 9 Americans?
I've heard various numbers.
In other words, they've hit some of the Arab states out there.
Who's
Where-
they?
Iran.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Iran. I mean, they sent out like 9, I don't know, a bunch of drones or missiles, and I heard we had like 9 Americans killed. I mean,
Yes,
they've
it
been
was
attacking.
drones.
Yeah, with drones. They've been attacking. What did they just hit? UAE again? Or I've lost track. There's so many of those countries out there. Dubai. I don't know
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. UAE. That's where our main base is.
And didn't they just hit some kind of water treatment plant in one of these other ally nations?
They've got a anti-saline
Desalination plant.
desalination plant. That's what they hit. Yeah.
Which you got to have in the
Which
desert
means
to drink.
they just took out their water, and without water, that country is dead.
Right.
It's a desert,
So
and it's overpopulated.
they're definitely engaging in attacks against
Yes.
us and our friends. Russia
Yep.
shows up on the scene, and so we really don't know. They may indeed be there to back up Iran, and we'll know if Iran keeps attacking. Listen, we're in a terrible situation because we're going to have to fight back, and then we're going to know what Russia's there to do. Listen, they would be fools to
Eventually.
attack us. I mean, that would be World War III right there, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Very close, very likely. Yeah.
Because when has Russia and America last got into it? But that time, I think, on Trump's first term, he went over there and whacked some of the Russian mercenaries that were over there working under the Z branch. What was that group? They killed their leader.
Oh yeah.
The mercenaries, we sent over a barrage of attacks and it wiped out a couple hundred of the Russian troops. I mean, that was the last time I can think of that we've
Yeah,
been
that
in a
was
shooting war,
that was in Ukraine. Yeah,
right? Yeah, Ukraine. But I mean, we've never fought against Russia, have we?
not really.
Not
Well,
really.
Except
We
they
for
sort of got
proxies,
skirmished with them a little bit in World War II.
maybe
and
Afghanistan.
Korea was actually
China.
directed by, well, no, it was directed by Russia. Russia is a satellite. I mean, North Korea is a satellite of Russia, not China.
As is Iran, using Hezbollah as their proxies. Of course, Russia's been fighting us, using others and supplying them.
Yeah.
No question about that. Did you hear a report that satellite imagery picked up a perfect copy of one of our destroyers being built out in the Chinese desert, out in the middle of nowhere, and it's almost like a carbon copy. They're still building it, and the question is why is China building replicas of some of our fleet? Is
To find their vulnerability spots.
it using AI to model that
Probably.
for
It
some
might
kind of new
be.
weapon? One guy said it's to telegraph a message that we're coming for you. And they are. Has China or Russia ever stood down from their 30-year plans to, attack and destroy America?
Well, it's interesting that you would say 30-year plan because we also have another additional piece of information that came through yesterday and today about the exposure of who the real global control manipulators are. Now we've been aware of the paperclip exercise, and we've been aware of the SS and the CIA and so on, but those are only the front end of the equation. The back end of it is the bankers and those who are influencing the bankers. So you got the influencers of the influencers helping the actors in their operational deception and control. And that's been going on since 1947. I'm sorry, 1944 to 1954. And that's when it was first set up. And it's continuing. It's never gone, it's never been dismantled. And if anything has been strengthened, the Federal Reserve is not federal and is not reserve. And it in fact is an arm of traitor of being a traitor to the United States and our Constitution for sure.
Well, it was never constitutional to begin with.
That's right.
There is no provision in our Constitution for a central bank.
In fact, it's the opposite. They've got everything worded to exclude the central bank concept. Yeah, and that particular thing has been presented. Oh, what was her name? Her last name is Kay. She's got a book out on the expose that just got published here about a week ago.
Yeah. I'll have to track her name down here in a minute.
Yeah, and with that, we've got essentially what we've got is we've got a shadow government, which we've already known for quite a while, that is running our nation. The elected officials are on the take, and so they're useless to counter that corruption. Because they've entered into the corruption themselves, they're compromised. And when you trace it all the way back, it becomes spiritual, and it's ancient evil, it's ancient what do we want to call it? I guess ancient evil for one thing,
Hmm.
but it's the devil himself and all of his one third of his angels that are influencing the leaders of the world. And part of it is because God has said, in order for things to get so bad that it is endangering the entire creation, and I'm going to have to step in. That's what God has said in the prophecy. He's going to step in and eliminate and take out all of that. But before it gets there, it has to get to its fullness of iniquity and fullness of wickedness and evil. Okay? And that's what, and in order to do that, the Lord allows these things to occur. And we're seeing that accelerate and occur now in our lifetime and in this moment faster than we can even keep up with.
Are you saying, in other words, it's going by the book?
It's going by the book and may be accelerating beyond what we anticipated. What is the book? Because
You
we
know,
don't.
back in Daniel's time, when the prince of Persia withstood Michael, I think it was
Mhm.
Michael, the archangel, from getting over
Hmm.
there. And you read about that. Do you think there's a literal prince of Persia working right now as we're doing this show tonight,
Oh,
involved in this
absolutely,
Probably.
conflict?
absolutely, yes, I do.
It's amazing.
Unequivocally, I do. And I have seen more personal demonic attacks occur in my area, my family, my home, and the country that I'm staying in right now than I have ever seen in my life. Personally, even to the point that I've had to cry out multiple times for the Lord to counter the attacks of the enemy, to include beheading 70 demons and sending their heads 100 years away from their bodies. That slowed them down a little bit.
Before this program's over, we need to cut some heads off of some demons. Just make a
Amen.
note of that. Keep going.
Amen.
The mic
Yeah.
is yours.
And so we are in an intense spiritual battle, warfare against evil, good and evil, right now.
Hmm.
And it's in the heavens, it's going on fiercely, and it's spilling out in the manifestation of the leaders of the world. And the we look at the alignments of the nations and they look strange. Why are they doing this? Why are they that way? Well, there's an agenda that's there. Part of that agenda is Agenda 30, and
2030. Yeah.
yeah, 2030, and it's it's alive and well, and it's on track. Even though we think that it's been blunted, it hasn't
Derailed a
been.
little bit, but it hasn't. No.
No, that's right. It
See,
hasn't.
these guys have a way. They've already thought through all the scenarios.
Yeah,
They've already realized that they can get stopped one way, but that just means they have to do it another.
yeah. They go. They're going. They encounter A. They react with B. B is derailed. They react with C, and until we find a way to really derail that, that continues, and then D comes
Hmm.
along, and E and F and G and so on. Variations. That's the easiest way to explain it. It's a lot more complicated than that, but that's essentially what's happening. You got Plan B, A, B, C, D, and E, and F and G, and however many there may be, and then of course there are subsidiaries or subgroups So you've
Mm-hmm.
got layer upon layer upon layer of a- actors occurring along this line right now.
And I like
And
to say they are actors because
yes,
they have a script and they're following that script.
yes.
'Cause I remember
And
when I was very young getting put into plays and having to act, and
mhm,
wasn't my favorite thing to do, but
yeah, but you see that,
hmm
yeah.
You
And
know, in the
the,
American Revolution, we didn't fight the British according to the British rules, or we would have been killed.
oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
We use
Yeah,
guerrilla techniques, right?
yes,
Guerrilla warfare.
yeah,
And you know
we
what?
sort of went into we used the book of Fabian. Remember the Roman who beat Hannibal?
And
He realized he couldn't fight Hannibal straight on because the times the Romans tried to fight Hannibal straight on, they lost and lost badly.
very
So
badly.
Fabian stood up and said, "We're going to do guerrilla warfare. We're going to hit them and run, hit them and run, hit them and run."
sounds like what
And
the Iranians are doing right now.
well,
Yeah,
that's all they can do.
And
hmm
for all of our think tanks, we have been caught with our pants down, thinking, sending a couple missiles, we're going to do the job. They keep coming and coming with these $6,000 drones. And
Hmm.
in this discussion, y'all made me really wonder if Iran and Russia already anticipated what our responses are going to be, and they're playing advanced 4D chess. Back to you. What do you think?
well, whether or not they are, they've precipitated a one-upsman by silently doing what they're doing. They are not operating by bellicose statements or threats. They're simply appearing and saying, "We're here and we mean business." Now, can we, you know, we've got options. We can pull their bluff, but that brings up a risk. Are we really willing to take? Because if we seek one of theirs, that is, in fact, a direct entrance into World War III. And of course, we've got people in the problem is we've got subterfuge in our own government that wants that. They'd like to do nothing better than to precipitate a false flag saying that it's the Russians that destroyed their own vessel, when in fact it was us.
Oh, wow. Or you mean like a Gulf of Tonkin situation?
That's exactly right.
Uh oh.
That's one of the modus operandi that we're confronted with right now.
Are we talking about like even a false flag operation that maybe Pearl Harbor was? When we look back in retrospect, we stood
Mhm.
down so the Japanese would hit us, and then we would have a moral pejorative for going into the war? Is
Hmm.
Russia
Yes.
looking for that?
No, we are.
Oh, okay.
We
This is complicated. Back to you.
yes,
Yes,
it
it
is.
is. We're not. This is because one of the things we got to understand is we don't have generals now like we had in World War II. There are no Pattons, there are no Eisenhowers, there are no Bradleys, no MacArthurs. You know, those men, I think, actually love this country and did their best to serve it. And
Hmm.
with Patton, they're still writing doctrine based upon what he did. Not that it's going to do him much good because when it comes right down to things, suddenly they go back to the British set piece operation and do that like they did in Desert Shield and Desert Storm.
Hmm.
You know, lay out the place with artillery and level it and then go on in.
And that works when you're working against a third world country, but it doesn't work when you're doing it against Russia or China because they come back with overwhelming power to
Hmm.
destroy you.
Exactly. And they're not going to sit back and let you do it.
I've heard numbers as high as they've got 1,000 carriers over there in China. Is that possible?
Yes.
Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, their industry is what we used to have in World War II.
We know England's
They're
got like one sub, if it even works. What do we got out there?
who England?
Well, no, America. We know England has
Oh,
nothing. What about America? We don't have 1,000 carriers, do we?
No,
oh gosh, no, no.
Exactly. So
it
your
takes
point is
us
correct.
years.
Ours takes years, 4, 5, 10 years to construct a aircraft carrier.
Point well
China's
taken.
putting
Then
China's putting them out at a rate of what, one every 2 weeks.
good grief, that is fast. And they've got some nice looking carriers. Have you seen their curved ramp to help the aircraft get up in the air a little bit faster?
Hmm.
Well, we started doing that in World War II.
I mean, have you seen the Chinese one though? How curved it is?
Yeah, I saw that, and I was saying they stole our idea from World War II,
Oh,
and then we quit doing it. When we got to the Enterprise class carriers, we quit doing it.
Hmm.
you know, how much munitions do we have left after we send everything over to Ukraine? Are we in
That's a
24/7 production?
concern.
And look at what we've already expended here. Do you think Russia was just waiting for us to shoot all of our load?
That could very well be.
That the timing of it probably is that's one of the key elements in their assessment of their action of what they were planning. What is our response capability? And our response capability is very limited right now because we don't have the industry that can produce it.
Well,
It's all in China.
yeah, first thing we got to understand is I is that Russians are chess players. They think several moves in advance every time.
Yes, yes.
In America, we're poker players. We play for the hand. We don't play for the hand four down. We're playing for the hand at the moment. And that's where we get in a lot of trouble.
Hmm.
Our range of thinking is only about 3 months. Whereas the Russians and the Chinese also, they play it out years.
Hmm. We used to do that, but not anymore. We've gotten lazy because we've only had third world countries that we chose to confront and bully around. No wonder a lot of the world doesn't appreciate us anymore.
I was thinking the other day, do we have, if we've run out of ammo, we need gunpowder to make more bullets, right?
Oh
Well,
yeah.
what we need more than anything is rare earth materials
And that's what I'm working
because
up
China
towards.
has cut us off.
And you're exactly right. Rare earth minerals used in missile guidance systems, high tech weaponry. The U.S. relies heavily on China for refined rare earth elements. Tungsten, used for armor piercing rounds. We import most of that from a place like South Korea. Copper, used for bullet jackets and casings. I'm reading off AI. It says we mine a lot of it, but we still import a lot. So what are we going to
Hmm.
do? China, listen, can you pause the war? And we got an order in from Alibaba. Can you
Excuse me.
expedite that? Because we've run out of ammo.
Well, the only thing that could help us is out in the western U.S. They have found many rare earth minerals out there. One place they found them was Skinwalker Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
They also found them at another place, Blind Frog Ranch. Those are two TV shows, by the way, you can watch.
I had heard of that one, Blind
And
Frog. Interesting.
yes, basically what they're looking for, and this just sort of came as an accident. They they were looking for Montezuma's gold,
Mm-hmm.
which they think is on that property somewhere, and it may well be. They're sure finding a lot of tunnels in it. But
Yeah.
but the interesting thing was the owner of it was an old Texas wildcatter. So he knew all about how to drill holes in the ground. And that's what he did. In one of those holes, he found lithium and a few other substances.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about
One,
it.
one of the things that has crossed my mind as we're observing this is the absolutely terrifying evil that is there on that ranch in
Especially Skinwalker.
in the Skinwalkers, and that evil spiritual group are attracted by those rare earth minerals.
It could very well be because the interesting thing, what started all that, is the Navajo and the Ute are traditional enemies. And when one of the tribes drove out another, the tribe that got driven out left them a little present, a little curse.
Mm-hmm.
And they have they have broached that subject on the program more than
Mm-hmm.
once.
Mm-hmm.
And
So a lot of black magic
unfortunately,
and human sacrifice over there to transform into the skinwalkers.
well, it doesn't take human sacrifice necessarily, just wickedness in life.
Yeah.
Sounds like that place needs to be prayer walked. Uh,
Well,
it says
that's not uncommon among the native Indians
right.
and the Eskimos, because up in Alaska,
Mm,
I have encountered stories given to me by the elders of the Athabascan Indians and the elders of the in Yupik Eskimos,
yes.
and they're one of the responsibilities of their witch doctors. They call them shamans. Is a out of body patrol up and down the main rivers like the Kuskokwim and the Yukon that empty out into the Norton Sound area. They would patrol them to guard against a actual human invasion element. You know, the invasion element might be 6 or 7 men, and might be 50, but it's usually a small amount that can come in. And then their main purpose was to kill isolated families and take away their women. And
Wow.
that way they would keep their bloodline diversified.
I had heard that anytime you see a totem pole over there, they would have a human sacrifice that they put in a hole. They put a child in there, and then they put in the hole, and then they put the totem on top of it. What do you think? There's a buried child on a lot of those totem poles.
I've heard that rumor, but I've never had it verified.
But definitely these native tribes did a lot of witchcraft. No question about that. And cursed land. But it says the U.S. heavily relies on foreign countries for several critical minerals. Example, U.S. relies on imports for up to 85% of its antimony, vital material needed for making armor-piercing bullets and explosives, and does not currently produce certain traditional propellants domestically. So, getting back to the subject of war, what are we going to do if we can't rearm some of these things because we need somebody to sell us the raw material? Is Russia taking that into account as we're expending our archives? I mean, Trump keeps saying we're the strongest military ever.
Oh yeah, their military has that into account for sure.
I've heard they're running 24/7.
They're really not stupid. Yeah, they're
Russia.
very astute.
They've got 24/7 shifts making munitions in Russia. Are we doing the same? How many plants do we even have that make ammo? I thought we only had 2 or 3 a few years ago. One of them burned down or something.
Yep.
I'm not sure why Elon Musk doesn't get involved in this. I think he ought to have a steel plant. He ought to get into making munitions and maybe start up a new airline because they all seem to be biting the dust in America. What do you think?
Well, they're trying to do what is it called? Socially accepted conduct, which is absolute wickedness.
Or they use the term out here, woke.
Yeah, woke witness, wickedness. Because what we have in our lifetimes, we have gone from a conservative practicing Christian nation to one that is spurning and mocking God and provoking him. What do you think the Supreme Court of the land did to God when they ruled that homosexual marriage was acceptable? When both the practice of homosexuality, regardless of whether it was a marriage or not, is an abomination to the Lord and completely against his desire and his design. And we have embraced that socially so much that you have blurred the lines between right and wrong to the point that you're calling wrong right and you're calling the right conduct wrong.
For sure. 7-2, it's okay to order abortion pills, mail order?
Yep.
Well, again, we have a Catholic Supreme Court. How did we end up with that?
By quasi.
There is not a single Protestant on that Supreme Court right now.
No. But the presidents that were there were Catholic in name only, but they were still Catholic.
Vance is Catholic. And his wife's Hindu.
Okay.
His wife, that means she has Hindu gods and altars in their home. And he's Catholic, as far as I understand.
Well,
that's his official faith.
They're both idolatry, so there's no difference. Yeah.
Exactly. That's interesting. Is this actually and then look we've got an American over there as the Pope, and that guy is as liberal as you get. I don't think he's homosexual, as some of them may have been, but I wonder, is this a Catholic coup to take down Protestantism? Is this...
they've been trying to do that ever since it started in the 16th century.
Yeah, they have. And it is apparently succeeding quite well because the control mechanism that the Catholic Church uses is the same control mechanism that the Antichrist wants. It's a spirit of Antichrist, isn't it, anyway?
Oh, boy. This is not looking good, whichever angle you look through. This is like a Bruce Lee Jeet Kune Do ABC attack. We're getting hit from all angles.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Even though it is so, that's why it's important for us to now humble ourselves and come before God and align ourselves with God in a correct relationship with Him with purity and holiness. And I'm speaking not only to everybody else that's listening, but I'm speaking to myself. I battle that daily every now. That's one of the temptations that the enemy is saying, "Oh, wouldn't you like to see this? Wouldn't you like to think that? Wouldn't you like to imagine this? What do you think about that?" And I'm thinking, "Good grief, where is my innocence gone?"
We've got a
It's
good
trying to
comment
corrupt it.
from the chat room. Brother Dan tuning in says Vance was never heard of until this election. # installed. That's right. I never heard of the guy. He's almost like
Mhm.
Obama. Came out of nowhere from Chicago.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, he came out of Ohio. He was a senator in Ohio for 2 years. Trump picks him for vice president.
Vance? Yeah, but when was
Yeah.
he on our radar prior to that? I mean, I would have
Well,
to
he
agree.
wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Installed. Isn't it interesting? Again, Catholic Pope from America.
And he's now suggesting that Vance and Erica Kirk will be on the next ticket. I hope not.
Hmm.
I still believe Charlie Kirk was taken out by an exploding road mic. I don't think a 30-06. Well, Brother Baird, you were in combat. If you got shot in the neck with a 30-06, would you have your head still on? Not to mention there's no exit wound. And what about
Well,
his shirt?
it depends upon the makeup of the round. If it's a normal NATO approved round with a heavy metal jacket, it's just going to go right straight through, and it's not going to tumble. It's just the mass of the round, the bullet, is going to have it punch through, and that's it.
And it will go out the back of your neck,
It'll,
right? With a big hole.
that's yeah. That well,
With a lot
probably
of
bigger
blood.
with a lot of blood, but you can't now an M16. The velocity of that particular round, with its light weight, as soon as it touches the flesh, begins to tumble, and it in fact does decapitate you.
But look at the shirt
Literally,
bulge.
if
It,
it
it,
hits your
it'll decapitate
collarbone,
you.
your head's gone.
Okay, right. Right. But there was no exit wound out of his neck. And then what causes your shirt to blouse? I mean, there was gases being expelled. You know what? Here's my thought. The guy did shoot, but that was never the intent to kill him with one round. They got him with an exploding road mic,
Hmm.
and that's the fall guy. Oh, lone shooter. He's in
No,
a
it's never a lone shooter. There's all sorts of players that are in that, and they shield them and protect them by that lone shooter narration. And it's
I mean,
so
they've been
stupid.
doing
It's
it
so
ever
stupid.
since.
It's a narration that everybody seems to gather around, but it's the stupidest one you could ever think of because it's not right. It's not true.
Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say who did it, but I believe it was a military hit on him from one of the intelligence agencies,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm.
and he was taken out. That dude is in court right now, the fall guy, but the real device that killed him was an exploding road mic.
Hmm. It could very likely be. I don't know.
You know, somebody was handling that mic, and they came up there and put it. Always handle your own equipment, by the way. I'm just saying. It was an inside job. That's my take, and that's the patsy, just like the dude that killed JFK. That wasn't him. It was a Oswald. Oswald. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a mafia hit.
Mm-hmm.
He was shot by multiple shooters. There was one guy over there in the sewage drain.
Yep.
There's one guy in the sewage drain. There's another guy back behind the fence on the
Yep. On the
grassy
knoll.
knoll.
Yep.
Two guys in the. There's one guy in the Texas Book Depository. We know who he is, Malcolm Wallace.
Yeah, there was
And
another
then
guy on the bridge.
yeah,
Okay,
that
the
was
bums that shot
yes.
over the tree line and then they hit out in the cargo container. Once again, one of our listeners out there, Dan says, and note with Charlie Kirk, they destroyed the crime scene immediately after and destroyed evidence. Move along, nothing to see. That's a good point, Dan, because what was this construction crew doing about the next day out there on this crime scene? Where is the footage that was in the security cameras? One of the guys said he saw a guy go up there and grab it. Now, I don't know if that ever came out or not, but, yeah, what are you touching the crime scene? Don't you always put police tape out there?
You
Yes.
always do, if it's a legitimate. But if it's a cover-up, you don't have it.
Almost sounds like Clinton bulldozing the site over there of the Oklahoma City
Waco.
bombing.
Yeah, and also in Waco.
They bulldozed it and shipped the dirt over
And
to
what they
China.
did in 9/11,
Right?
they shipped all the evidence out.
Yep.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, my sons have asked me to get them an RC aircraft, one of these RC planes. And we've been talking about it. You can buy these little remote control helicopters. So they're watching YouTube the other day, and I'm watching these professional RC pilots, and they've got these big mock-ups of any aircraft you want. I mean, they've got some big ones. Huge jumbo jets. Fly with the little, the little controls that you hold in your hand, just like a drone.
Yeah, with a joystick.
You get those things up there, I mean, you would swear that's an actual aircraft at distance. They've got military ones. They've got any nation's flag vehicle you want, aircraft. The more I look back at September 11th, the more I'm convinced that either one of those aircrafts were flown by wire or they use a RC aircraft or a drone packed with explosives. No airplane folds into a building and disappears.
Okay.
Exactly.
Let me put my 2 cents in worth it.
But let me finish my point, which is
Okay, go
simply
ahead.
that they did two things. They had pre-wired the building with thermite explosives to pancake the building. There was explosives heard in the basement. They knocked out the foundations. And that drone coming in, pancaked. There was no wings falling to the ground. There was no people in their seats falling out of the air onto the ground. They found nothing except unscathed passports. They had explosives in that drone or RC aircraft to blow and make the fireworks show. At the same time, they pancaked that floor. That was a false flag maneuver. And NORAD is operating Operation Tripod that day. A stand-down maneuver. Is that a coincidence? Major Tom, go ahead. Take it over. What do you think?
No, yeah, that's correct. That was part of it. It's an internal thing. And with the current individuals still alive, we're never going to hear about it.
Building
Until-
7. Larry Silverstein says we pulled it. He had taken insurance out on it. We pulled it.
Yeah.
Just like a Las Vegas casino imploded. They pancaked that thing. And for a light show, it looked like an aircraft. I saw it with my eyes. You need to watch the YouTube channel. Look at the RC aircraft. Now, look, 20, 30 years ago, NASA already did tests. They took a jumbo jet. I don't know if it was a 747 or what. And they flew it by wire from California and landed in Australia. Nobody on board. That's that technology we've had for a very long time. They had a form
Yep.
of drones back during World War II.
Yeah.
They did. I mean, but I saw an aircraft. Yeah, you did. You either saw an RC aircraft or, as the late Al Cubbett said, some
was
of these can be
Global
flown by
Hawk.
wire. Yeah, Global Hawk. Come on, man.
That's what he said, and he said it to me the day after it happened.
But why? But why? Let me say why. Because right after that happened, no problem passing Patriot Acts 1 and 2, which were on the shelf waiting for the right opportunity. The Taliban had seized the opium production and stopped it. That's probably a billion or $1 trillion cash crop right there, which is fueling black budget operations. We needed to get that back in, and you know, this was a military contractor's wet dream. I remember seeing video footage shortly after it happened, and they were like celebratory. Listen, this is the greatest thing that could happen to us. There's all kinds of money to be made. And how many years were we in that war?
20.
20 years, opium production reinstated. I talked to a guy down here in a bar one time. I was in there getting a burger, and I talked small talk with these Canadians who were down here visiting Bali. What do you do? And he said, my friend really don't want to talk about it. I said, what do you mean? He was in the military. He was deployed. And finally, I got the guy to open up. I said, what did you see over there? He said, I saw us doing some crap, which I still don't understand why I was even over there for. We were basically escorting drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, opium's back. We've got the impetus now to get the American public to support a 20-year war and to give up their freedoms. You know, just give us peace and safety. We'll give up our freedoms. Patriot Acts 1 and 2 are passed. False flag. NORAD had people standing down. I mean, Loose Change does a pretty good job of laying it out. The only problem is what happened to those people that got on the plane. Poor people, I don't know what happened to them. But you're not going to tell me that an aircraft can fly right into the World Trade Center and just disappear.
Not with an amateur, and to fly with an amateur pilot, you can't do that. Even a precision pilot going at that airspeed cannot counter the turbulence of the air to make sure that he's precisely on that particular path. That's a great, difficult feat.
A month or two back, there was, I forget where it was, I saw on the news, there was a private plane that flew right into a skyscraper. And they had some smoke coming out from the office building, and part of the fuselage was there, and the other fell down to the ground. Look, in the late 40s, early 50s, we had an aircraft. It was
B-24.
It went right into the Empire State Building?
Yes, it was. I'm sorry, B-25, yeah.
Right, flew right into the Empire State Building.
I was old enough that I could actually remember the pictures on the newspaper.
Are you going to tell me that a jumbo jet just punches a hole, goes right in, and disappears? There's no fuselage falling to the ground. There's no people in their seats found. They didn't find nothing, but they found some unscathed passports so we can identify. This is the greatest false flag we've had since Pearl Harbor or the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yep.
I love America. I'm an American patriot. My grandfather served and retired with the Air Force. My dad was called up during Vietnam. I had an opportunity to work for a Warrant Officer Division among some of the greatest men and women aviators of all time. One of my friends, tuning in tonight, an Apache helicopter pilot, served our country. But we've got some people in the intelligence communities, in the deep state, in the shadow government, as Al Cubbett used to call it, that has even come out in the last few days in Trump's speech. They mention the shadow government in some of these declassified CI files. They don't care about you and I. They don't care about sacrificing mail clerks, secretaries. Everybody else didn't come into that day to work. What do they know that the mail clerks and the secretaries didn't know? What about the put options? Again, what happened to Building 7? They pulled it, for goodness sakes. And there's nothing to see here? Nothing to see here on Epstein Island? Nothing to see here?
Exactly.
Well, I got news for them. There's a all-seeing eye called God, and he sees everything, and you cannot get past him. So if we don't get them here, they're caught on the other side.
Okay, here's a statement from an actual pilot, military aviator. He says an airline, and I know you're a pilot, Brother Baird, so I know you'll appreciate this. An airliner did not hit the 5-sided building. There was an 8-foot diameter hole in the building that penetrated all 5 rings and that C-130 that was seen circling overhead immediately after it was hit. Forget about the security systems being disabled 2 to 3 weeks before the attacks on the towers. Landing gear, titanium, hardened steel always survives every crash. Lockerbie, Scotland, from 30 to 40,000 feet. Landing gear and engines always survive. Nothing found at the Pentagon in the field. No
That's
wreckage at
right.
all, yeah. And then they had covers over what I think were engines over there. I think they hit the Pentagon either with a missile or some drones.
It was a missile. You know, we didn't have drones at the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
the footage across the street is missing. Yeah, it just punches a hole in it. Listen, they couldn't pass Patriot Acts 1 and 2 without it. Take people back to Oklahoma City. What happened after the bombing of the terrible day? They passed the Digital Wiretap Act. They couldn't get it through Congress. What happened during Waco? ATF. Budget on the chopping block. They could have gotten David Koresh anytime. He used to jog up for ice cream. Why didn't you get me on the street? I mean, listen, I'm sick of this stuff. Going back to Ruby Ridge, I've been around long enough to see this stuff. We've got people that have no problem killing their own citizenry. And these people need to be brought to justice. Not just say, well, we're going to declassify the files. I hope that Trump follows through with it and they prosecute everybody that they can for the election steal. Election steal. On the news. Why did two of the networks not televise that speech? Because they don't want it coming out that we got a couple 100,000 non-U.S. citizens voting. There's dogs that vote. There are dead people voting out there with these mail-in ballots. People double voting. And you know what? The night of the election that was thrown through tampering with the voting software, I sent out a private message to my opt-in mailing list on MailChimp, and I said, pray, because they're going to try to steal the election from President Trump tonight. And there was a Lieutenant General McInerney, which had gotten out on the news. I picked it up and I reposted it. He said, Operation Hammer and Scorecard. They can manipulate the vote through the voting software backdoors. They're doing it. And they can do it in such a way as try to cover their tracks. But the whole system's vulnerable. I reposted that. I got a strike on YouTube. The next day, my MailChimp account was shut down with no warning, just for telling people to pray. And Dominion Software sued and got a judgment of, I think, $700 million against Fox News.
Which Fox News is not paid.
They then turned around and sued the Kraken, which was the attorney, the lady for President Trump, who was telling the truth back then. And then poor Lynn Wood, this super attorney from Georgia, they persecuted, and he ended up having to give up his license. These people need to be brought to justice. Then there's even some allegations that even Venezuela was involved in some of the software. I can't prove that, but I heard stories. But I'm here to tell you, I'm owed an apology. I want my MailChimp account back. I want those strikes removed. But no, I'm on 8th or 9th channel right now. They censor people. And it's time we get some justice here. Because these people will kill you. They'll lie, cheat, steal. They'll do whatever they need to do to try to shut down the truth. And it's all over after Trump leaves office if something doesn't change and quick with the voting system. But I heard there may be a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, President Trump ordered the Postal Service not to mail in ballots to, 18 states or so that would not disclose their voter records so they could be scrubbed. And there was a stay by a judge. But the appellate court, I heard just last night, overturned that. And so for right now, the Postal Service does not have to deliver any mail-in votes without a list and a barcode for each individual that they can scan, something to that effect. I mean, there's some hope. Maybe this thing can turn around. If not, we're screwed. What's to keep these people from doing it again? False flags seem to be the order of the day. Boy, I really took us off into left field there. I apologize, guys. We haven't even gotten past the entry screen.
Well, I'll tell you what we can do. We'll do it next week. How about that?
Let me give it back to you. I've said a lot. What say ye? Listen, God can't be happy with it.
No, he's
No.
not.
What does the scripture say? The enemy comes but to steal. Now I've got a blank. Steal, kill, and destroy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what his minions are doing. They're following his bidding just as well as they can do.
It's,
When you
as I
leave
say,
God
this,
out, you get
yeah,
all this. Yeah, go ahead.
you get confusion.
Hmm.
And that's what we've had. We've had confusion.
And I
But the
think there's
day is
fatigue out
coming.
there.
Yeah.
People are tired of not seeing justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, I think that one commentator, the general, was right. He said, there's no negotiating with these Iranians. If they
No.
attack again, you take out a power plant, you take out a bridge. You
Or
keep
you
doing
take
it until
out a
they get
dam.
nothing. Exactly. You can't negotiate with terrorists. They never repent. They'll just come back and regroup and then get you again.
Hmm.
They said the IRGC, they control the whole thing over there. There's also a corporation that controls everything in Cuba. It's a money-making operation. You got to go for their money. Not just take out the head guy. We took out the Ayatollah. They're still going.
Hmm.
I voted for Trump two out of three times. Third time I wasn't legally able to vote. I didn't have a driver's license at that point. I was over here so far. But I supported him. The greatest thing that could have happened is Trump getting into office. Can you imagine? Living under Kamala right now? Everybody would
Oh
be
boy.
gay out there. There would
Well,
be
or
DEI
be
dogs. They
sent
want
over to
your dog
be
to be
sent
gay.
over to Iran
Hmm.
because I'm sure they draft every guy under 50.
What I'm saying to you here is I hope he's learning that you can't negotiate with these guys. There's no deal that you can strike with it. You got to take them out, cut the head off the serpent. I still don't know why we haven't taken out Carg Island.
Because
I
it's
just,
too far in.
yeah.
It's too far in. And once you got there and took it, you'd be subject to missile barrages and couldn't stop one of them
Drop a
Yeah,
because
tactical
they're all
nuke.
hypersonic.
the reaction and counterattack would be devastating.
Tactical nuke.
Again, if you start playing the nuclear game, when does it stop?
Maybe it's time to start it up.
No, it
Mhm.
is not time to start it up because we'll be the losers. Russia's got Russia's got nuclear bombs that are about 50 times more powerful than anything we have. They could lay out about 4 nuclear bombs and level this country.
Except that Putin's getting ready to retire. And he's got billions and billions of dollars in the bank, and he has plans to enjoy his retirement. I don't think that he wants to go into World War IV, World War III, whatever we're up
Well,
to. And in
I
this
think
whole
we're
thing,
already in World War III, and
or
we
send
just saw it
troops.
today.
Land invasion, some are calling for that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not going to work. You got to understand, any invading Iran would be the equivalent of a Normandy invasion. And plus, it's a lot harder territory because it's very mountainous. You would not have a very easy time of it. And honestly, the biggest thing we got to do is pull away from that and work on protecting Israel. Because
Mhm.
apparently I've been hearing a few disparaging things about the condition of the Israeli army at this point, and that they've been calling for help.
Well, in the last week, they've had, or 2 weeks, they've had 3 battalions, a whole brigade, wiped out. Wiped out. Officers and men. 601 I don't know what the exact numbers are because I don't think they're publishing them exactly, but they've lost the entire command structure of those units, and those are elite units that takes years and years of training and training and training to get to that peak. And they walked into an ambush where because is it the Baca Valley there that's right there at the southern end of Lebanon is in a cauldron where you've got the high sides of mountain cliffs with tunnel holes in the mountains. They're just like Iwo Jima. And they walked up into that and they were hit from in front, from the sides, and from behind. And in 20 minutes, they were wiped out.
It's because we've been restraining them from doing what they need to do. As one guy said, Israel, do what you need to do and tell us what we need to do to help you and let them do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you restrain them and you say, you have to absorb the hit, nobody can keep absorbing the hit as long as they have. Or we're not going to supply with weaponry. I mean, look, sadly, we're in a mess right now, but the worst thing we could do would be to pull out of Iran. Then Iran's going to have the resolve and others, enemies of America, that, hey, we beat the world superpower with, guerrilla tactics using these fast boats. And Pete Hegseth up there, what the hell's going on there? I know he's an American patriot. He served in America, but he's not a military strategist. We're in some serious trouble. We need to finish the job over there. To heck with the oil.
Well, the trouble is we shouldn't have gotten into this thing in the first place.
Well, we had to. We had no choice. Why do I say that?
No, we had a choice.
No, because
we had a choice.
Well, listen.
What are we?
Yeah, we had a choice not to help the largest underground Christian church in the world. That's in Iran. These poor people for 45 years living under those frickin' Ayatollah maniacs. And we're going to say we're going to turn our back on the Christian church, just like we do in Africa and the Muslims behead Christians, but also for Israel. First of all, Iran has been continuously for 45 years threatening Israel, threatening America. Mm-hmm. They have been attacking Israel relentless through Hezbollah, their proxy, and Hamas. No, and we're telling Israel to have restraint, give up Gaza. They're in a problem now because America forced them to give up Gaza in 2005. Gaza was given to the Jews in Joshua 15:47. That was a big mistake, number one, and they're paying for it now. Within 4 years of surrendering Gaza, look what happened. Hamas moves in there, and all the money sent over there, they were building underground tunnels and missiles, and they've been firing relentlessly at America. At Israel. Israel should be able to protect itself. And who's going to stand
I have
in the
no
gap?
problem with that as long as they're doing military things.
Who's going to stand in the gap for the underground church? And they killed more people than just about died in Vietnam in 2 weeks over there. Murdered 30,000 of their own people, shooting them right in the heads. They're doing executions right now. Should we let that go on? But the problem we got 500,000 military and police over there, the Persians that are ruling the other 49% of the country. I don't know how you stop a force of 500,000.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. You're walking in there, and you're going to need at least 2 million man army. We can't raise it in this country.
Or actually 15 million men.
Good, great. You mean for a land invasion?
Mm-hmm. Yes. We got to stop thinking we're the world's policemen, and that we have to do God's job for Him. Let our Heavenly Father deal with these people for a change.
Well, that clearly wasn't their motivation going in there. They didn't care anything about the Christians. I didn't even know this existed until recently. But now that I'm made known of it, then I say we got to help those people. Holding up the signs, Trump, help us. Or we just say, not our problem, and let our brothers and sisters in Christ die over there? If there was ever a holy war,
they shouldn't be calling on. Yeah, they shouldn't be calling on Trump. They should be calling on their Heavenly Father.
Mm-hmm.
Well, agreed. But have any of us ever lived under those conditions since like 1979? They've been living like that. Brutal
Well,
police.
the Shah wasn't much better. Let's be honest.
Well, you're right. You're right. And the
The
problem goes back
Savak,
to
the
the CIA.
Savak, yes, 1952.
We created this problem, no question about it.
Or not 52, 53. I'll take that back.
Hmm.
Israel has a right to exist and have all the land that God gave them. And
hmm
somebody's got to step in for those Christians. What other country is going to do it? Nobody
Well,
else
as I
cares about
said,
these Christians.
they need to call on their heavenly Father. We've tried doing things on our own with our own logic and our own methods. And how does that work every time somebody does it? We go to the Torah.
It backfires.
We go to the Torah. After the spies go in and say, we can't take it, and the Lord rebukes the Israelites, what do they decide to do? They decide, oh, we're sorry. We'll go take the land now. But Moses says, don't you dare. You got your 40-year penalty to pay. So they went up and tried to take on the Canaanites. And how did that work out?
The
It
entire
didn't.
force was wiped out.
It didn't. And
No
this is the
question.
problem we're dealing with Israel right now. There is a lot of wickedness in that country, starting with their Supreme Court building, which is Masonic as all get out, and countless other areas. They've allowed wickedness to come in, and they have not followed the Torah at all. They've replaced it with a fake Talmud, and they've written their own rules. And there's going to be judgment when you do that. It happened in First and Second Kings, happened in First and Second Chronicles, happened in Judges. Same thing happens every time you get into wickedness. Judgment comes.
I hear you. And it's certainly going by the book because the Bible already said that they're going to be laid siege to. They're going to be slaughtering the women
hmm
in the streets. But they already lost 7 million under the hands of Hitler. And look, if judgment's already hit there, judgment's certainly coming to America. We're ripe for it. We better have some mercy and do what we can over there, in
hmm
spite of what they need to get cleaned up, because we haven't seen nothing yet in America. I mean, we've been talking
No.
about the sins of America right now. Who would have ever thought they would have a unisex bathroom? I'm glad I wasn't in America and had to go into a Target with my children, and they had to go in there, and there may have been a transvestite man in the bathroom with a little girl. I mean, this is sick what happened. Not to mention COVID
Well, what they did with
murdering millions.
most of those, what they called unisex bathrooms, they made it so only one family can go in at a time. They blew that way out of proportion from what it was. It wasn't a unisex bathroom; it was a one-person bathroom. So if you were say taking your daughter and she had to go to the bathroom and you were at Target, you don't want to take her in a men's restroom. You don't want to leave her alone in a women's. So you use the unisex where you can go in there with your daughter and you can attend to things.
I realize that, but you go to the school system and they had guys who said they were a girl, and they demanded to go into the girls' bathroom, and they were raping girls up in there. And I mean, that's
Yeah.
just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the city of Chaz allowing all these Antifa, BLM riots in the street. I mean, we're in some serious trouble. We're reaping what we've sown. We're continuing to murder
hmm
children. Order your mail order abortion pills, 7-2 by Congress. All this DEI woke.
Yeah.
We better have some mercy on Israel is the point I'm trying to make, because we're ripe for judgment right now. And we're
Yeah. Except
on
I
the
don't
way.
know that mercy for Israel is going to help us anymore
We're
because we
on the way to
can't.
Dimitri Duduman.
Hmm.
Props
I
of
think
America coming to
Dimitri's right. I
pass.
think it's coming, and there's nothing to change it.
That's a Red Dawn invasion.
Hmm.
Nicaragua, Cuba, Mexico, Central America coming up the southern border, Red Dawn invasion. Russia attacking. We haven't seen nothing yet.
Mm-mm.
I think there's also a massive earthquake still coming. Some have said there will be an earthquake.
Well, you also got A. Allen and his vision of New York City.
Hmm. And that's on both of our websites.
Jonathan Hansen said, whatever the body count was at the World Trade Center bombing, God showed him it'll be 1,000 times that next time. So there was 3,000 they said died at September 11th there. He said next time 3 million. All
Hmm.
the buildings will be burning. David Wilkerson saw it in the vision.
Mhm.
Yes, he did.
Dimitri Duduman said you're going to see California, Florida, New York State, and Las Vegas destroyed by fire in one day.
Mhm.
Hmm.
We're in some serious trouble. I don't want it to come. But at the rate we're going, we just keep compounding our troubles. Well, it would be foolish to think we're going to solve this in the flesh. There's either got to be repentance and a turn to God on a national level, or this can go a lot worse than any of us have
Yes.
contemplated. If you're just coming in,
Hmm.
we're live with Tom Baird and Tom Mack. And at the beginning of the program, again, Brother Baird, to recap, what has just happened with Russia?
They've moved in 3 ships, cruisers, and they're literally patrolling the southern end of
The Strait of
the
Hormuz.
Strait of Hormuz, and they're a military deterrent to what we can do with essentially what they've done with their presence. Now we don't have any communication that's occurred surrounding them. They've just showed up, and in their showing up, we could have intercepted them, but our Navy never did. Why?
Are they armed?
Yes,
I wonder if they've got any nuclear missile
they have
equipped subs.
Yeah, they do. They have nuclear capable munitions. Now, capable is not the same as actually having them on, so they may not be armed
They
with a
may or may
nuclear.
not.
Yeah,
And it just reminded me of a story. Didn't I also hear something about Cuba? Cuba has got some of the drones now, like thousands of them that have landed in Cuba, of the type that they're using over either in Ukraine or Iran. Have y'all heard anything on that?
No.
Haven't
no,
been able to verify it. 90 miles off our shore.
Hmm. A second Cuban Missile Crisis.
People are wondering if there's going to be a launch attack against Mar-a-Lago. They're so close. I mean, look at how far Iran is flying these drones and hitting Kiev. I mean, hitting Russia,
hmm
the capital. Or they've been targeting military sites of interest. This is a whole new war. I don't think my mind can handle the fact that maybe a false flag is in the work now. Is that what you're intimating?
yes,
It makes you wonder what Eisenhower was seeing in his time. Beware of the military-industrial complex. Clearly, there's people that want us to remain at war. Now, we need to defend ourselves. We need to be able to act and act decisively when it's time to act. But I don't want anybody creating a false flag just to put us in another 20-year war. Now, that's I don't think anybody wants that. But was that why Charlie Kirk was taken out? Because he wanted to see an end to the war?
Hmm.
He's got the ear of the youth. It's like Trump. Barron said, Dad, you better get on some of these podcasts. It's going to be the youth that can help you win the election. So we did the podcast, right?
Yes, he did.
We've got it.
Did everything from Joe Rogan on down.
We've got youth out there that you're going to need them in the vote. And people looked up to Charlie Kirk. But if he doesn't go with the direction we want to go, perpetual war, let's take him out. Again, he was taken out. I don't think he'll be the last.
No.
We're in some serious trouble right now. I'm not privy to anything top secret. I'm just like everybody else, just watching the news and getting bits and pieces here and there. We don't know what we don't know.
Well, and one of the things we've had to start doing is watching reports from other countries, because we're not getting the truth from our own media.
Mm-hmm.
And when we think we're going to get justice, there is no justice to be found.
Mm-hmm.
Only that Ghislaine Maxwell in jail. Why hasn't anybody else went to jail?
And I don't even know if she's in jail, really. I've been hearing stories that there's a double.
Yeah, I think, I'm sorry to say, but I think Trump's naive once again. And he's trusting advisors to help him select people. And not as bad as last time, where just about everybody that he selected betrayed him, including the VP. But I don't like these guys and gals that he invited to the White House. What's the name of the operation? I forget the name of it. Dealing with the AI. And we're going to embolden them to build all these super centers all around the nation to collect information on you and I.
Data centers, yeah.
Yeah, the AI super centers. Who is the guy? Oh man, my brain is drawing a
The
blank here.
Palantir guy.
Well, the Palantir dude, he's in Argentina right now, I believe. He's the one that was holding the workshops on looking for the Antichrist, right? I'm talking about the other dude. He's gay.
Are you talking Noah Harari?
Well, no, Noah Harari. Well, is he gay too?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, what the heck's going on?
He's the worst one.
I got him confused with George Soros' son. He married Almadine, who is the lesbian lover of Hillary Clinton. No, I'm talking about the other guy, the Chat GPT, Sam Altman. No, wait.
Yeah.
Sam Altman, that's him. Not Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto dude.
No, that's
Sam Altman.
that was a Democrat operation that went bad.
He takes it up the butthole. And that's the guy who was welcomed into the White House along with Oracle, Larry something. And Trump's like, this is the best thing since sliced bread.
Of course it is for him. Because he's making a lot of money off it. His family's making a lot of money off of it.
Agentic AI, Chat GPT, Palantir. Listen, they're going to turn the AI against us just like the flock cameras right now.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me that they're building all these data supercenters just so you and I can make better animated shorts for YouTube?
No. Most of these data centers, first thing that's a big problem with them is they chew up all the water because they run their processors so hot.
This is 24/7 total surveillance society.
Yeah.
24/7.
Germany. Just like East Germany was before it collapsed in 91. We need to go look at how they did it. That's what's coming here.
I'm wondering if Sam Altman's not the Antichrist.
No.
He doesn't love women?
AI is the Antichrist. That's why it's a beast and not a human being. It's a beast.
Well, I think it's either the brain of the beast or it's going to create the image of the beast. No question about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking if you had to choose an individual.
I don't think there is one individual that could conceive of all this.
What's happening that all these brainiacs are gay? I don't understand that. Well, I think when you corrupt the truth long enough, sexual confusion is not far behind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a slippery slope. Pervert the truth, sexual perversion is not far behind, and I'm not taking it up the behind. And President Trump to welcome these people in. I mean, is he naive? He's a businessman, but we're not dealing with
That's
business.
just
We're
it.
dealing with spiritual wickedness in heavenly places. Back to your point. And they're creating the infrastructure that long after he's gone in 2028, this will be his last term, according to Jonathan Cahn. There is no third term, as some are looking for. He's going to be gone. I wonder who's going to be in there. Will it be the Catholic J.D. Vance, as we were talking about earlier, or is it going to be Governor Newsom? I have a sinking suspicion that if they don't fix his voting system, we're going to see Newsom in there.
No, he's already under indictment now. He's in trouble.
These people are slippery. Look at his.
Well, he's slippery, but he's not going to be slippery enough because he took too much money and put it in his own pocket.
Yeah,
too much
but
government.
Have we done anything with this?
That's just
dude out
it. They're
there?
going to have to figure out somebody that they can scapegoat so they can. I think the Democrats are going to run somebody just like they did Obama. They're going to find somebody in the wild blue yonder that nobody knows about.
Maybe Big Mike? Who ran as VP under in this last election?
He's dead too, the governor of Minnesota.
No, Tim. What's his name?
The governor of Virginia, or the senator from Virginia?
No, who just ran in the last election against Trump? And it was going to be the VP.
Okay, that would be the guy from Virginia.
No.
Tim Kaine.
Tim Kaine. I thought he was in Minnesota.
No, that was...
My point is this Ethiopian scam that was running, where they had all these supposed daycare centers, billing the government, and there was no children in the daycare.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, who's went to jail over that is my question.
Well, apparently some people are going to.
What about the governor that allowed this on his watch? Why is no one being prosecuted and sent to prison?
Well, that's just it. Yeah, Tim Waltz was his name.
Yeah, Tim Waltz. That's the guy I was looking for. He ran for VP. Wasn't he the VP? Or was that another guy? Tim Waltz, but that's the guy I was referring to. He should be in jail.
Well, and he's getting there.
How is it that Bongino and his boss said there's nothing to see here? There was nothing going on in Epstein Island.
Oh, he knows there's something going on there.
Getting sunbaths. Well, that's why I put on Bongino's. I guess he's coming under some,
Yeah.
He's coming under some kickback from people I'm not happy with what he did. And I put my 2 cents in there. I said, Dan, tell me how it is that you were in there, and if anybody could have stood up for the truth and been the whistleblower, yes, you would have probably lost your life. I understand that. But you just quit. And you said there's nothing to see here. How can you tell me that's not compromise? We've got to be ready to die with our boots on for the truth, or we can't cut the mustard. And that's what I put up on this wall, and I said, convince me that I'm wrong, that you couldn't cut the mustard. Yes, they would have killed him. I'm sure they would have. He was afraid of the threats they were probably making to him. You don't say, well, I've just been away from my wife too long, then move her to D.C. if you miss your wife. I don't understand. But again, maybe he's not the patriot we thought he was. As long as you just go with the status quo, you don't rock the boat, you can get out and you can make millions of dollars podcasting. Okay?
In fact,
he would have lost
honestly,
all
I think he makes more money podcasting than ever would being director of the FBI.
Oh, well, you're a GM at best. Yeah, you don't make much money working for the government. I don't know how. Even Pete Hegseth, it's very interesting. He lost a lot of money leaving Fox News. I'm not saying he's up to no good. I believe he's a Christian patriot. And, hey, maybe you're saying, look, this is a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm going to go do it, and then I'll get out and write a book. Okay, so be it. But they would have killed Bongino. No question about it if he had come out with the truth. But he said he was for the truth. If we're not willing to die with our boots on, then we're not going to get very far. Brother Baird, you were Nam up against a real enemy, the Viet Cong, that wanted you dead. I wouldn't be surprised that they probably put out a hit on you. Was there a bounty on your head?
Yeah, there was.
Okay.
In fact, I was an escort officer with a inspection team that went from my district headquarters to the village that was on the northern side of the Mekong River. And they couldn't figure out how come it was always so successful that the enemy could not infiltrate that particular village. When they got out there, they found out that it was a village that came en masse from North Vietnam and was totally Catholic. Everybody there was religious, and a Buddhist cannot fake being a Christian. Simple as that. That's why they couldn't ever infiltrate that particular village. Well, in the process, I had to be the United States officer that had to escort the helicopters and make sure that the pilots didn't get attacked or whatever. And so they dropped us, the pilots dropped us off. I had, I don't know, 2-3 colonels and a couple of lieutenant colonels. And myself, and I was a captain at the time. And a helicopter took off, and the reason we used a helicopter is because between our district village and that particular village was a hardcore VC base camp, and we would have to have had thousands of troops to go over there to visit them, and you couldn't afford sparing troops just to go on a visit like that. So we flew over. When the helicopter took off, not more than 3 minutes after they took off, they gave us a radio call and said, "We've just been hit. We are unable to return. We're headed back to the province headquarters to be repaired." And so now we're stuck. We can't, we don't have anything to move through that base camp. Fortunately, because we had the river on the one side, on the north side of the village, and then the rest of it was surrounded by jungle, we ended up with one of the villagers who was a merchant. He had an ocean-going sampan, one of these that has a little house on it. You can live in it, sort of like you do in Hong Kong or China. And so he says, "I have my sampan loaded for market. I'll take you up there and I'll hide you in my cargo, and we'll get through the checkpoint."
This is the
one
makings of a movie. You were
Yeah.
hiding in the sampan down in the cargo bin?
I'll tell you, no, it wasn't a car. It was even lower than that.
Oh.
I ended up, because we were out in the middle of the Mekong River at that point in time. I think it was the Cochin River. Yeah, it was the Cochin. That was the north one. And it was more than 15 miles wide. You could only see the tallest 150-foot trees on the other side. You couldn't see the actual shoreline. And so we were out in the middle of the river, where identification would be, even with binoculars, be difficult to do. I'm sitting up on the bow, and I'm just a happy camper. I'm got that forward moving sampan and a breeze, and I'm on the bow, and I'm out of danger, and I don't have to worry about anything. And I'm just, oh, this is beautiful up here. And suddenly, after a blissful period of time, probably an hour and a half or so, to get up to the area of the province town, village, city, And one of the crew members on the family that run the sampan came up behind me and tapped me on the shoulder behind me. I turned around and he says, Dai Wee, follow me.
Daiwi?
So, yeah, Dai Wee is Vietnamese for captain.
Now, were you in VC black pajamas?
No, I was in uniform at
Oh,
that point.
and what kind of weaponry were you carrying? M16?
M16.
Did you have a
Yeah,
sidearm as well?
no, just M16.
Any grenades?
No, we're on an escort mission. I'm not going into a combat zone.
And what about a combat knife?
No, just the bayonet and the
Okay.
M16. So here we are. I'm lightly armed. And so I'm following him and I'm looking around, and none of the other officers, these are high level officers, they can't just disappear. But they have disappeared. And I'm thinking, oh, god darn it. These guys are the enemy and they've just sliced these other guys' throats and thrown them overboard. And I'm next.
Whoa.
And that was a thought that was going through my mind. And then the next thing I know, I'm inside the little house and they pulled the bags of rice and the straw that was in the cargo bay, pulled it aside, and you've got these pallets that are called dunnage, and underneath the pallets is the keel, and there's about 18 to 24 inches of clearance between the dunnage and the keel. And I'm now laying in on the bare wood keel, and they put the dunnage over the top of me, fit it in, and then they pile the rice and I'm actually the straw and the rice then on top of that over me and over the other officers. They're in there beside me, and I'm the last guy in the lineup next to the door. So I'm the first one to be found if they ever found me. Anyway, so they proceed to keep on going at the same speed and so on. And after we got all hid, and I can tell that they've turned a little bit. I could tell this centrifugal force kind of stuff a little bit, but I had no idea because I couldn't see outside, couldn't see anything, in fact. And the next thing I'm thinking is, it's really dusty down here, and I'm about to sneeze. And I don't really need to sneeze if we're going to go near the enemy. So each one of us has a bounty on our heads. I don't remember all the bounties, but it was in the thousands of piastres. Piastres are the Vietnamese dollars, up to the point that it was between a couple $100,000 and $1 million combined that we had on our heads. Combined. Now, the next thing I sense is we're slowing down. The engine is cut off, and we're coasting, and we're slowing down, and so on. And I know, well, we're going to stop here somewhere. It's probably a VC checkpoint. Sure enough, we did. We stopped right at a checkpoint. It was a tax collection checkpoint for all vessels going into the market, this one included. And I'm listening to the conversation, and they're talking plainly enough that I can understand it. And the enemy operator on the shore says, "What do you have? Where are you going? What are you doing here?" And the owner says, "I have rice and straw for market." "Okay, let me see it and inspect it." And so he comes on board, walks right over the top of me, creates a little bit of dust, and I'm holding my breath to keep quiet. So are all the other guys. And he's prodding the rice sacks with a bayonet. And I'm thinking, man, I hope he doesn't have a long one. And So I'm
This
laying
long
there.
knife coming in over your heads, jabbing
Yep.
down.
Yep, jabbing down. And he's going through and he's checking things out, and he says, "Okay, it looks like that's what you got. That'll be 150 piastre or whatever it was for the tax." And the guy pays him, and the checkpoint guy gets off the sampan and on the shore, and off we go. And about 20 minutes later, we're going out on this very narrow canal that goes right into the middle of the marketplace in Vinh Binh province city. And we get right into the middle of the city, and at that point in time, we're in safe territory. And they come by and they take the stuff that was over the top of us off and get us up. And when we walk off the sampan, we're safe. And they got back to their commands, and I got back to my unit.
That's a close call. Did you have your M16 pointed up, ready to have to unload on them
No,
if it came to it?
no, I couldn't do that. I had to have it beside me. It wouldn't fit any other place.
Oh, so you're in really cramped places. But in other words, were you ready to burst out of there and
No,
mow them down?
no, I had, at that point in time, I had accepted my fate that if I was going to die, I was going to die.
Okay.
You just have to be ready for that.
Well, that was
Combat's
part of
that way.
my question. You went into combat to do the right thing, and if you had to die, you were willing to do it. If not, you would have been good to anybody there, and you would have been AWOL. Again, I'm just not happy with the fact that Bongino, who made himself out to be this great super patriot, got in there and we're watching him say there's nothing to see here. I have no doubt that they were going to threaten to kill him. Well, then he couldn't cut the mustard. Bongino, prove me wrong. You can come on this program and tell us why you said there's nothing to see here. I need to correct something, by the way. I got confused with the Tims. There happens to be two Tims. There's Tim Kaine and Tim Waltz. Tim Kaine was VP with Hillary. He's the dude that should be in jail. He's the governor of Minnesota.
No, that's Tim Waltz.
No, Tim Kaine, it says he was, wait a minute. He was born in Minnesota. My mistake.
Yes.
Born in St. Paul. I'm sorry. But Tim Kaine was with Hillary. Tim Waltz is with Kamala then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hang on. So many Tims. What's going on with that?
I don't know.
Hey, listen, if you're not angry, okay, Tim Waltz, here we go. 41st governor of Minnesota. Yeah, so he was the guy with Kamala overseeing all this massive Minnesota fraud, bilking the government for billions. Now, they did arrest one guy and extradited him back. He's on his way back. I saw him in chains the other day. But we need some justice here. I don't know how much more people can take. We know that the government is crooked, but why is nobody going to jail is the question. Will anybody go to jail? Or is it going to be, well, we looked at the documentation. Yeah, the CIA said there was election fraud, but is anybody going to jail is my question.
As long as you don't cross the manipulators of the manipulators, you're protected. It's a protection scam.
Can anybody teach me how to put a bed in over there on Poly Market? By the way, did you hear that Trump's teleprompter was making bets on his speech? Got $100,000 the other day. They caught him, though. You didn't hear about that?
No.
The dude in charge of managing Trump's teleprompter, he was making side bets relating to content of the speech. Well, he knew because he was putting the stuff up there, and he made $100,000, but they got him. I don't think he's going to jail, but he's been, I think he lost his job. Just saying, did you all see the speech, by the way, in closing? Did you see the speech that Trump made the other day that two of the networks wouldn't cover?
No.
Oh, y'all haven't seen it?
No.
Well, no wonder. Two of the networks wouldn't cover it, but I saw it on Associated Press, and it's in my newsletter. And I want to thank Robert Avila for bringing it to my attention, because if you didn't hear this speech, it's all about the proof for election fraud that he said he's going to release CIA documents proving they stole the election. and naming up to 275,000 or so plus non-U.S. voters who voted in the election. Not American citizens. They voted in the election. Is that not enough to have an overhaul of the voting system?
All it takes is an identification.
Yeah, photo ID. Are you Tom Mack? Are you Tom Bear? Are you Shannon Davis? Yes. Here's my photo. Not this. You can sign up Scruffy your dog to vote, and he can do a mail order ballot. Scruffy Bear, Scruffy Mac, and your dog gets a
Well,
vote.
I don't think Susie would vote for a Democrat either.
And
My
the dad
cat.
vote.
He's got a Republican cat.
Well, remember what Elon uncovered? There were people, I think, that were like 105 years old collecting Social Security.
Oh, older than that. Try 300.
Yes.
I don't know what happened tonight. Gentlemen, I'm usually quiet. I just mute myself and let y'all talk. I don't know what that. You have to pray for me. Lord have mercy.
Oh,
I
that's
think
okay. I think
my
we'll
frustration
just
just spilling
do
over.
Zechariah 4 next week, or if you want to get me on sometime this week, we'll do it then.
Absolutely. I am glad that you got to bring that coverage of Russia. I hadn't heard about that. And folks, you'll hear a lot of first here because these gentlemen, they comb the news. They're in prayer. And none of us are
And in
happy
all
about the direction
fairness,
things are going.
people send me stuff too. People send me stuff.
I will say this once again. If two networks blocked the president's 30-minute speech, which they did, and they don't deny, I think it's worth your trouble to watch the video. And again, thank you to Robert who told me. He said, you should be suing MailChimp. They vindicated you. That's what these people did. I lived it. Many of you lived it. Hundreds of thousands of YouTubers lived it. That's why I'm on channel 8 or 9. I've lost track. Strikes for telling people to pray, for warning them. Lost my account. Well, that's why I moved to Substack. I've never had any trouble with Substack. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread for email systems. Everybody should have one. Gentlemen, you want to put up on the screen how they can contact you guys?
Okay. Let me get over here. I know.
And brother,
I'll put that back up.
Brother Baird, I think that story
Yes.
you told, that's the things of movies, man. That's pretty amazing. I'd like to hear more tales from Vietnam. I think y'all should consider another book. And it's not
Well,
every day we
I
get-
did have a unique experience. Not only was I in combat, but it seemed like every time I turned around, the Lord had me involved in things like I befriended the Theravada Buddhist ecclesiastical chief. He was the guy that was in charge of my district, who selected which son would go into the army and which one would go into the Buddhist training program.
Wow.
In the monastery. And he wanted to learn English and I wanted to learn Cambodian because 87% of my population in my district was Khmer Cambodian. And so he learned English a lot better than I did Cambodian. I can barely speak anything. I can't even remember how to count now. But at any rate, I would meet with him on the days that I was able to, and in the evenings, oftentimes, because his house was just outside, around about a block away from the entrance into my compound, and he was in the village, in the town, the Kaohsiung village. Now, I'm walking by at noontime. I'm over at the headquarters in the operations center, and I'm going over operations and so on, and all the military things I had to do there with my counterpart. Came noontime, and when they're not on operation, they take their normal siesta from about 1 o'clock or 12, between 12 and 4. And if they eat early, they take their siesta at 12 and continue on until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm going back to my compound to get a meal, and I have to go right by his front door. And his house, if you ever been in an Oriental village, it's crowded. It's really narrow, not much space between structures. I'm walking past his door. It is ajar, about the width of an arm, in the width of your arm's width, not length, width. So it's about 4 inches to 6 inches open. It's dark. There's no light. So, and there's no sign of movement or anything like that. So I figure, well, he's probably sleeping and I won't bother him. I'll just go on by. I get right abreast of that ajar door. It suddenly swings open. A arm with a uniform on it, a sleeve, uniform sleeve on it that I don't recognize, shoots out, grabs me, and yanks me into his house. I am thinking, because 2 weeks before that, a captain advisor had been lured into his friend's house by his friend because they had his wife and his daughter held at knife point to kill them by slitting their throat if he didn't entice the advisor to come in. So he complied under duress, obviously. He walked into that house and he never came out alive. He was killed right then. And I'm thinking, oh, here I go. And I'm looking around, and he had a long dinner table there in that particular room. And here's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 officers or individuals in uniform. I later on found out that one of them was a general officer in the Cambodian army.
Wow.
And they had come, I'm down on the South China Sea at the very end of the Mekong River. He came from Phnom Penh, which is way inside of Cambodia.
Was he Khmer Rouge, or did that come later?
No, that came way, way, way later.
Okay.
2-3 years later. Anyway, he came from there down the Mekong River. And of course, the Mekong River is not just one channel, it's about 3 or 4. And he comes on down, he comes all the way to my district, to my friend's house, because, and I don't know how it happened, but my reputation was broadcast enough through their circles that they had found out that I was a reliable, trustworthy individual, and that whatever I said I would do is what I would do. And if they said keep this secret, I would keep it secret. If they'd said, do this, I would be, very careful and respect and honor their need for security, whatever it was. And so they came to me. And the next thing I know, I'm thinking I'm going to be killed. I'm on a fight or flight kind of a situation right there, but they've got the door already closed behind me. And I'm quite nervous, very obvious I don't think I am able to keep from telegraphing what my emotions are. I think my face always shows it. And my friend is, how you take your hands with palms up and you wave them towards you with your hands to sit down, sit down, sit down. And that's what he was saying. Sit down, sit down, sit down. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. You can sit down. But what about me, once I sit down, I'm doubly hard to counter any kind of attack. That's what I was thinking. But he finally gets me to the point where, all right, I'll go ahead and I resign myself to my imminent death if that's what it's got to be. So I sit down and I find out that they are there from the highest circles of the military, Cambodian military, to ask me to contact the President of United States. Now I'm just a peon captain, and they want me to contact the President of the United States and ask for artillery shells and of various calibers, how many of them, and aircraft and all the military hardware that they're going to need because they want to conduct a coup against Sihanouk. If you remember who Sihanouk was, he was the dictator of Cambodia at that point in time in '69. And he had just taken off to visit his pals in Beijing, China. And he was gone for a couple of weeks. And during those couple of weeks that he was gone, these guys came down to my place and asking me to get these things, all this equipment and munitions and support from the United States to conduct a coup against him and overthrow the government. Now they want me to do that. I say, I don't know anybody. I don't even know who's. I did know that there was a Cambodian speaking civilian at province headquarters who could speak Cambodian, and he had a Cambodian interpreter as well, but he himself was fluent. And I knew about that. So I said, well, I know this guy, he's a civilian, and he can come down and I'll bring him down. He's got probably contact with somebody that's a lot higher than I am because he's there at province headquarters. And I later found out when he came that he was CIA, actually.
Because
And
officially
so
we were never in Cambodia, right? The official record, but
that's correct.
we went over the fence many times, didn't we?
Oh, he did. But at any rate, he then, it took me about 3 weeks to convince them that I can't help you, but this guy can. And then he, of course, along with that, he's communicating back and forth on what he can do and what he can't do, and on and on and on. And they're trying to get their stuff together to send it all the way to the President of the United States. That was their objective. So I then let them go ahead, and about 3 weeks later, Sihanouk still hasn't come back from Beijing. And the other element that these officers were representing conducted a bloodless coup and took over the government of Cambodia. And from that point on, for the next year to, I don't know, maybe 11 to 12, 15 months. I don't know how many months it was because I was gone by that point in time. That particular government survived, and they were Christian. There were several Christians in there that were among those individuals, and they had freedom of religion. They had a revival going on actually
Wow.
in the country
In Cambodia?
in Cambodia,
Wow.
and that was just before Pol Pot.
What the heck happened that it
When
went
the Khmer
the other way?
Rouge came through and took over and murdered them.
Were
Every
we
one of them.
were
They're
we
gone.
supporting Pol Pot? I don't remember the
No,
history. Oh,
no,
okay.
no, 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 no. He was. Uh, extremely murderous and violent in his conduct of warfare. He
The
gave no
killing
quarter.
fields. Oh yeah.
He was willing to kill anything, and because of that viciousness, all of the all of the army, uh, they'd start out with a small outpost and they'd overrun them and roll them up and slaughter them. And then they'd come on up to the next level and they'd do the same thing there, and the next level and the next level, until there wasn't anybody left. And they came in and took the town, took
Kill all the
Phnom Penh,
doctors. Kill
killed
anyone with degrees.
anybody that wore glasses
Oh man,
was killed.
barbaric.
Just
Um,
barbaric.
Years
Millions. I
ago.
think there's how many? I don't know how many. Eight
Oh,
million.
killing field. Killing field
Yeah.
over here in Bali too, but not like that. Um, Years ago, there was a friend of Steve Quayle that he recommended to me, and I started up a conversation email. Supposedly, he was, and I believe the story. He was one of the only that got captured in Cambodia and made it back. His story was he was out. He was special forces, and he made a deadly mistake. He lit up a cigarette,
Oh.
and the enemy was not far away, and they smelled it, and they descended on him, and they grabbed him. And he was actually, I guess, over the border, and he had to kill them to get his freedom, but I think not before they raped him. Apparently, they took him and they butt raped him, and he had to do something. It was horrible. Killed them all, and got out of there and told the tale. He was traumatized,
Oh, I would imagine.
but he said that's what they did to him. They grabbed him and raped him. And he said, "You don't ever make that mistake I did, lighting up a cigarette." I wanted to ask you. I heard that the Vietnamese, they could tell Americans by their bowel movements. They could smell that you're eating different food than they, and they can look at the shape of your boots. So, did you ever eat Vietnamese food and walk around in sandals to camouflage any of your maneuvers?
Well, we had a team cook that was Vietnamese, so we had a lot of Vietnamese food. I enjoyed the rice with the clear Nook Mom sauce that you pour over it. Now, the Nook Mom sauce is made out of fermented fish.
Oh yeah, ferment kimchi. No, that's
Well,
that's the cabbage, right?
similar. Well,
Fermented
what
fish.
they do is they take the dead fish and they put them on a rack and let them drip
Oh,
through, and they drip through a cloth. And depending upon the number of cloths that they can pass it through, it starts out brown, and you can get it to a point of almost clear. It smells like the inside of a vagina,
ooh,
and it's just putrid.
we're transparent in this program. Ooh, that's nasty. But now, did you like it, or were you eating it so you
Oh,
could
it tastes
camouflage
it tastes
your turd?
it tastes wonderful. I really liked it.
But were you
Yes.
doing it to camouflage your turd
No,
in the bush?
no, because I didn't get out behind the enemy lines except by accident, as you've seen. I was always in with my soldiers and my troops on the other side, so we were moving to contact. We were not
Oh.
behind the enemy lines. We were not doing recon or anything like that.
But if you were, would you want to be using? Eating the way they eat and wear?
Yeah, you'd want to
sandals?
do that if you could stand it. Sure.
Okay, brother Mac, what you got to tell us something? I know what you did was classified, but when you were out there in the bushes, brother, eating Vietnamese food
No,
in black pajamas?
no.
But the black pajamas could give you even a split second um, jump on them
Well,
because they would look at you and think you're Viet Cong, right?
yeah, I only wore them when I was on escort duty or if I was with my own troops, so that they knew who I was because I was subject to being shot
Oh, okay, I
by my
understand.
own by the American troops. But we didn't have any American troops in our area, so I didn't have to worry about that. But if we had, they would have shot me. because
Now, be
they
honest with
wouldn't.
me. Wouldn't you much rather have an AK-47 out there in the mud than an M16? Is it like I heard you can give that
Yeah.
AK-47 a licking, it keeps on ticking?
Well, I didn't know anything about the AK-47 while I was there. I only knew about the M16, so didn't have a choice. But I always kept my weapon clean. I did not, it did more than one time a day. I would take my toothbrush that I had for my weapon and clean the chamber out
Did you
to
put
make sure that
Yes.
condoms on that rifle when you were out in the bush?
no.
I
I
heard that you
did.
put a condom on it
I
to keep
took
the water out.
tape and I took tape, electrical tape, and taped the end of the barrel.
Oh, so if you
That's
need to
better
shoot it,
than
just go through the tape, no problem, right?
that's right.
Okay. But no, I just thought everybody had condoms out there to put on the end of a rifle going through the
No,
swamp.
the troops where I was didn't have any combinants, so I couldn't have gotten one if I'd wanted one.
I know some nights I wake up in cold sweats, taking me back when I was in Da Nang, VC on my left and VC on my right, and all I had was a butter knife.
That's not a very good thing.
I have the
No.
utmost respect for all your veterans, and it's pretty cool. I remember in high school, back 85, 86, Platoon came out, and I read a book called Platoon Leader, which is pretty amazing. Talk about platoon leaders, usually once they got off the plane, they had a life expectancy of what, about 30 minutes or something. They would
Yep.
go after them. My dad was drafted. Of course, he goes to Okinawa, but to be able to meet some real Vietnam veterans, the only other place I ever met him was when I worked for Warrant Officer Division, and there were guys when I worked there in the 90s who were still in the military after Vietnam, and they had made it up to PERSCOM headquarters, but they all had pretty amazing stories as young helicopter pilots, back during NAM. But both of you gentlemen in the Army. So we never officially went into Cambodia, but of course we did. But who would
We
have went
did.
over there?
There was one operation that was actually authorized that went all the way into
Oh, really?
Cambodia.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
at the very end, it was about 1971 or so.
Something like that.
But
I
SOG was
can't.
probably over there all the time, right? Special Operations Group and the CIA. They
Oh yeah,
probably
SOG was
in and out.
there. Yeah, SOG was there before in 1966, I think, from 1966 to 1973, something like that. I don't remember the exact years.
I heard most of those guys who got tapped to go in, and you had to volunteer, I guess. Most of them didn't come back. They just disappeared. They didn't live
No,
very long.
well,
I know
there weren't very many of them anyway. There were only 80 something.
Oh,
80,
really? Oh.
yeah.
Did you ever run into any SOG Mac V when you were over there?
No, I did run into some special forces over in Germany that had been in Vietnam as special forces on the A team, but and they knew about. They mentioned to me that there were guys that were in special forces SOG, and
Had you ever thought about
I
carrying a sawed-off shotgun over there for close quarters combat?
no, because I was not privy to any special weapons. I could only carry the weapon that they issued me. When anything else, I could carry the first thing that happened when I got there, I was in Khao Kay district. And when I first got in country, they issued me the weapon. Once I got down to province, they issued me the weapon that my soldiers were carrying. That was an M2 carbine.
M2
M2
carbine.
carbine
Full auto?
has
That's
a
World War II
has
vintage.
World War II with a magazine. It's an M1
Full auto.
round put into a magazine.
Yes.
And my particular M2 carbine had been fired so much that there was hardly any lands and grooves on the barrel. The barrel was shot out.
Did you ever shoot it full auto?
No, never
I heard they're
did.
very hard to control.
I never shot a weapon full auto. I always shot it rapid fire single shot.
Like
And I can
3-round
fire
burst?
rapid fire single shot and place fire down that's accurate enough that everybody that's in front of it's dead.
When
If I
you,
put it on automatic, I can't hold it down,
that's what I heard.
and
The muzzle rise.
it goes
Yeah,
to.
you can't
I'm
control
shooting
that.
holes in the sky. So anyway, I have an M2 carbine,
Yes.
barrel shot out. I go out, and the first thing you want to do when you get a white rifle is you've got to zero it for you. The other guy's not you. You got to get it zeroed for you. So you've got to at least shoot down 3 rounds. And usually we would use 6 to 9 rounds to make sure that we had it zeroed, so that it was out at 100 yards, and
Just
that
a little
anything at
peep sight.
100 yards would actually be hit
Yeah.
as we look through the sights.
Just the
Now,
regular mounted peep sights. You didn't have a
just
scope or
a
anything back then.
just an iron sight. That's all you got. It's an iron sight, and I was able to still get my shot group within the circumference of a quarter at 100 yards.
Did they
I
later
was
give
fair-
you the M16, like an Armalite with a full stock and just a hand
Yes.
carrying rail?
Well, that's an interesting story. What happened was, as soon as I got into Calque, President, what's his name?
Nixon,
No, it's
Johnson.
Johnson issued a ceasefire on the B-52 strikes on the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and that was I was in Calque for about a month, going on regular operations, and we're encountering our local VC with homemade zip guns and
Wow.
Junk, just junk. And our M2 carbines, as inaccurate as they were 10 times better than they were. And 30 days after that ceasefire of bombing, ceasing of bombing of the Ho Chi Minh Trail, 30 days to the day, every one of the VC ended up with an AK-47. And now they have the firepower over us. And we actually ended up having to set up a besieged kind of perimeter in our compound, and had to stay in place for a month until our side, supply side, could get M16s down to us.
That's a game
So we
changer.
waited in. We did not go out on operations. We stayed in place
Wow.
because of that. And then finally, when we got the M16s, I can remember the day they came down with the helicopter just jammed full, so that not only me but my team, but all of the Vietnamese troops that I am advising, all of them get M16s too, and they come right out of the tarp and the covering. They were all covered in cosmoline.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
you ever tried to get that cosmoline off without fuel oil?
I used to buy my SKSs, and they would come in cosmoline. I didn't clean them off, just sold them like that. How many magazines would they issue you to go with your new M16?
Initially, they issued 2 magazines each, but I have very quickly collected up enough for 400, and two magazines is 40 rounds.
Wow.
That's not even a
80
combat load. A combat
80
load is
isn't gonna do
100. Combat load is 120,
Mm-hmm.
and I always carried 490 or something like that, 500 to 600.
Would you have them like in a bandolier or something around your belt?
I had them in every pocket that I had, and I had a vest that had a bunch of pockets, and
That's
I
pretty
carried
awesome.
that. I put them in the vest, and I put them in my pockets, and I carried them that way, because I knew if the enemy, and this is my first attitude, was a kind of a quick draw attitude. It was an attitude that if the enemy didn't kill me on the first round, they were dead. And I had enough bullets, enough rounds to fight off a major attack by myself
Good for you.
without my troops.
Did you get a sidearm also, like a 45?
I had one, but I never used it.
Pretty heavy, huh?
Well,
Did
no, it was just in the way. I couldn't carry all the magazines with a
oh
45.
now did you
I
run
had to
across?
have, I wanted the magazine better than I wanted the 45.
Did you see a lot of
Now, the other
SKS there
thing
with
that,
the Viet Cong SKSs?
say again?
Did you run across any Viet Cong using SKS rifles?
No, not in our area. Our area was very rural and very undeveloped, and at the very end, very end of the enemy resupply line.
Well, you know what SKS is. I'm talking about
They didn't get a lot.
the Chinese SKS. It's just a battle rifle like 7.62 times 39. Just a fixed rifle, semi-automatic. Now they may have been full out, I don't know, but you can buy those a lot of times at gun shows. I used to get them for $99. You can get them for $200 or $300 now. You'll see somebody walking around at a gun show. Buy one of those things because Norinco. I mean, they're great. But it's interesting what you said. You know, M2. You know, M1, M2. That's World War II. They were using. Did you see any people with M1 Grands?
No, no.
Um,
They only had M2 carbines.
And what's the other one? What's the other? We got
Oh, you had the grease
14.
gun.
Oh, you had grease guns over there?
No, you wanted to know what they were. Our
Oh.
army had the grease guns. Vietnamese never did.
I heard that even some of Hitler's Nazi weapons made it over into the hands of some of those guys in Vietnam.
No, we never saw any of those.
No, you didn't see no
If you were in the,
STGs?
we were down in the U Min forest, way down south in the 4 Corps. All the exotic firearms you're talking about are in 2 Corps and 3 Corps and 1 Corps, way up north,
I was a
hundreds of miles away.
I was a gun dealer, and came in at a time where I was a stocking gun dealer for Armalite. This was back in 2004, and they were still selling 223 rifles like the M16, not full auto though, with the long stocks and the fixed rails, and then they started to ship some with the I guess they're called the A3, A4 rails and attachments, and the shortened barrels, and the A3 stocks, rather collapsible stocks,
Yeah,
rather
right.
than the fixed ones. But that was kind
Well,
of interesting.
in a regular issue, you don't get those kind of weapons. You only get the
Fixed
fixed
stock,
stock. Yep.
big long rifles with the carrying
Yep.
handle.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That's it.
they were still selling
And
them.
but we would not use that carrying handle. We would normally use the sling. And I would have it slung on my shoulder, usually until we were close to the enemy, and then I was at what we call port arms. It was ready to shoot with my left hand on the barrel guard and my right hand on the trigger.
And how many changes of clothes did they give you out there in boots when you were in the field?
Well, in the field I only had one, and you went 30 days without a bath,
Oh man, well that's what I heard.
and you did not
30 days.
wear underwear because you got crotch rot.
Oh my goodness, that would just not taking a shower. You can get some crotch rot after a couple days.
Yes.
How did you keep from getting that fungus in between your legs and your ball sack?
You didn't when you got, well, by having taken off your shorts, you've got enough air in your baggy fatigues
Okay.
that it actually ventilates enough that you're all right. Or at least it was for a young guy. Now, at my age, I'd have all sorts of diseases because you just don't have the immune system like you have when you're young. So that was that particular situation. Now, the other thing is, because I was in a district as a district senior advisor, our operations were daytime. and we would go out with our troops on the operation in the daytime, and then we would select a particularly well-trained squad to go with on a night ambush. And then we would conduct our night ambush. And the next day we would go out on an operation again. You got to remember there's not much time you're going to sleep. And the biggest problem I had was just utter fatigue, bone killing fatigue all the time because I couldn't get enough sleep.
And if you closed your eyes, Charlie may get up there and
Well, that's true.
give you
If
a
you're on an
surprise.
ambush, if you're on an ambush site, or if you're moving to contact, you don't want to be slack. You got to be alert.
Did you ever catch a Viet Cong coming through the wire
Uh,
with his knife?
I had no. I had a VC chicken try to come through the wire. The local chicken tried to come through the wire and got blasted by claymore. There wasn't too much left of that chicken. You couldn't eat anything of it. All you got was feathers.
Well, this is amazing
But
feats of endurance.
well, the
No bath
okay.
for 30 days is rough.
The latest, I should say, the layout of our particular team house was on our compound was on the corner of a canal intersection. We had the canal coming from the center of town, going by us and taking a right-hand turn to go out to the main Mekong River. We had a left-hand canal coming straight across that joined with that other turn. And right at that T where those canals came together, we had our compound on the, let's see, our cardinal direction. It was on the south side. The canal, the enemy was on the north side, and we were on the south side. And right in front of us, our compound is made up of bunkers of sandbags, not cement, just sandbags, and firing ports. And we got some logs that are open there and so on. We're firing through the logs. Now, in the firing ports. Now, just in front of us, about 100 yards, is a coconut grove, a bunch of coconut trees. And every time we had a new moon situation, the enemy would come in because it's dark. There's nothing but stars. There's no light. It's a dark night. And of course, if it's raining, that's even more dark. And they would come into that coconut grove and shoot at us. And they would actually set up a mortar there on the other far side of that coconut grove. So the coconut, the trees and so on would stop our bullets before it got all the way through. And then they would shoot that mortar round, usually a 60 millimeter mortar, up high up in the air. It would go about 1,100 feet high and come back down 100 yards later right in our lap.
Wow.
Well, that's why our bunker was a sandbag covered bunker. Our team house was just a normal team house. Beside us was a barracks for the soldiers who had, not only did I have the soldiers there, but they had their families there, because if they left their families outside the gate, the enemy would kill them. So they protected them by having them in the same place. One night, along came it was one of those dark nights. The enemy set up, shot a mortar round. It came down on the north side. The barracks was oriented north-south. Just an example. It came down on the north side, right through the top of the ridge of the roof, went all the way down into the barracks, and the barracks have got over 120 people in it at least. And it went by this guy, the last bunk right on the north side, His headboard was right just 2 feet away from the wall. That motor round went in that 2 foot space down, missed his bunk and him, hit the cement floor, ricocheted to the south, and went through underneath everybody's bunk all the way and lodged in the south wall. And it was a dud and it never went off. That was the hand of God right there. However, that also set up the alert. Immediately everybody's alert and everybody goes, we practiced this beforehand. The first thing I did when I got into my team was they showed me where my bunk was and they showed me where the doorway was and where the bunker was that I had to go to. I had to go out of the doorway and into the bunker some 50 feet away. I don't know, 30 to 50, varied because there was a bunch of other stuff there. And so I would, and my firing position was inside the bunker on the left-hand side of the M60 machine gun. So I'm right next to the machine gun, and that's my firing position. So that's what I practice, and I do that in the daytime so I can find it at night in the dark. Now I've practiced that. I've practiced how fast I can get from my bunk to that firing position. Every soldier has the same thing. Every soldier practices that. So that's the way we set up. Now, once that alert came, I was sleeping in my bunk. I was on the bottom bunk, and I had the mosquito net over my bunk, and so I ripped open the mosquito net. I was sleeping in my skivvies, my underwear, and no, I don't know if I had a T-shirt on, and I don't think I even
Were
had a
they
T-shirt on.
Fruit of the Loom or boxers?
Yeah, something like that. It was, it was boxers. It wasn't jockey, and so I jammed my feet into my shower tongs, and right in front of my bunk is where I have my rifle and my flak jacket and my helmet. And I grab all three and I grab as many magazines I can grab and then bolt out and get into my firing position. And I'm firing. During the middle of the battle, the M60 machine gun firing pin broke.
Oh no.
It's the last firing pin. We have already gone through 7 of them. And this one just now broke and we have no more left. And we're in the middle of a battle. That's not a good place to go. So now I, with my M16, have to fire through not just my section. I've got to take up the slack on the M60. And I'm firing continuously with that M16 until my barrel is red hot. And it is glowing red in the dark. Fortunately, about 4 o'clock in the morning at this point in time, the enemy decided, oh, it's time to move out and get out of here. Later on, we found some blood trails where we had killed some of them, 3 or 4 of them in that section. But anyway, they broke contact and they left. So now I'm waiting and there's nothing going on and it's still dark. So I end up, I'm really hungry. I'm always hungry, but I'm really hungry now with all the adrenaline and everything else. So I go back out of the bunker, and then through the screen door of the screened-in porch into the house. I have to take a right-hand turn into the kitchen, straight ahead to the sitting room. Right hand is the kitchen. Take that, take a few steps in the dark, and go take a hard left, 90 degrees, and go walk until I run into the metal wall locker that has the bread. I step forward with my shower togs. I still have them shower togs on. Now, I'm a well-dressed soldier. I only have my underpants on and my weapon and gear and my shower togs. Anyway, I step forward, and as I'm stepping forward to get to that metal wall locker, I step on something round, about the size of a cobra snake. And we do have
Oh
cobra
boy.
snake.
Oh,
And I'm thinking, that's what I'm thinking. Oh no, I'm stepping on a snake. And the next thing I know, that daggone thing bit right into the end of my big toe. And I've been, oh no, I've just been bit by a cobra. However,
ouch.
it scared me. I screamed. I jumped about probably 3 feet, but I don't think it was 3 feet, but
As high
18
as a
inches or
Zulu
so.
warrior.
And I'm jumping high and I'm kicking hard against that metal wall locker, and it goes wham, a lot of noise. And I come back down, and I hear this scratch, 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 scratch.
Oh,
Ah, it was just a rat, but the rat had bit my big toe.
ouch.
Now, do I get rabies from that or not? Nobody knows. So in the morning, they call the helicopter and say, "We got a medevac. We don't know whether he's got rabies or not. Take him to Saigon where they can tell us what we got to do." And they fly me all the way to Saigon, 80 miles in this helicopter, and drop me off at the hospital. And I walk in there, and I'm sitting in there, and at the same time I'm sitting in there, there has been a major operation with massive casualties from a U.S. unit. I don't know whether it was a big red one or what, but these guys are coming in, and there's several helicopters have been shot down, and they've got massive burn victims and wounds all over the place. And I'm just a little guy with a bit off toe or a bite on
You
his
can
toe.
wait.
I can wait. So I wait and I wait and I wait probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 hours. Finally, a doctor comes to see me, and he says, "What do we have here?" And I says, "Well, I got bit on the big toe here by a rat, and I don't know whether I've got rabies or not." And he says, "Well, Captain, you're in good luck. None of the rats in Vietnam have rabies." And I'm thinking,
Praise the Lord for that.
you haven't been bit on the toe. How do you know?
Right?
I really didn't believe him. I really didn't believe him. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. You can say that. It's easy for you to say that.
Right.
All you've
Because if
done
you
is
don't
read
get
it.
it,
But he
you're
read it
dead.
in a book, and I'm the guy that's got bit. And if you're wrong, I'm dead.
Right.
So he says,
Once it gets to
"No,
the
you
brain,
go on
forget
back."
it.
He says, "No, go on back to your unit." And of course, I didn't have a choice. So we went out to the helipad and waited for. Well, they wouldn't. They flew me down up. I'm sorry, up to Saigon in a helicopter, and then they told me, "Go out to the airfield and find a flight that's going down south to Forkor." Well, I've never hitchhiked in my life, let alone hitchhiked by air. So I ended up going out there to the airfield, and then they said, "Well, what do I do?" And he says, "Well, here's the schedules up here on this wall over here. This is the operation shack that you're in, and this is the place you come to. And you look up there and you look to see if there's anything for four core. See, there's four core, but it's something that's already gone. And anything that's going to go yet." And so I said, "Okay." So I'm watching that, and I'm standing around and waiting around here and waiting out on the apron, and I'm actually not staying in the shack there. I'm staying out on the apron where I can watch the airplanes coming in, and I'm asking the airplanes, "You going four core? You going four core? You going four core?" No, no, no. Finally, we get a individual says, "Oh yeah, I'm going four core. Hop on." And so I hop on, and He flies me down to Forecourt. Well, now I'm in Canto. That's the capital of Forecourt. But that's some 90 miles from my place where I've got to go. And so I'm in Canto and I'm thinking, okay, how do I get down to Vinh Binh province? Not Vinh Long, Vinh Binh, because that's my province. And then I got to go from province to my Khao Nhang province. So here we go. And I finally, after I don't get anything all day long, go to bed. I go, they feed us and you find the place for chow and all that. And they have some bunks there that they put us up in. And that night they show the Green Beret with John Wayne.
Oh,
That
really?
was that was a popular movie in those days. Man, that was a good movie.
Yes, where the VC is crawling under the wire, right? The beginning.
Yeah, that's where the VC were crawling under the wire. So yeah, under the wire. So anyway, here we go. Get to see that. Go to bed. Wake up the next day, and I wait all day. There's nothing there again. Didn't get anything out that day. So I do that same thing the next day. I think it was 2 or 3 days before I finally found a flight that was going to go. Well, what happened, that was the day the Air America flight came in, and he says, yeah, I can take you on down to Vinh Binh. And that was a twin engine Piper, I don't know what it was.
How was he dressed? Were they in just civilian clothes or military?
He was in civilian clothes as a civilian pilot. And he ended up, he was having carburetor problems on his left engine. And he fiddled and farted around and jerry rigged it a little bit. And then got it so that it would run and it would run up and it would hold its RPMs and all that kind of stuff. So he said, I think it'll work. So we get out on the end of the runway and we're all loaded up and he pours the power to it and both engines are working just right. We lift off the end off the cement, so we're airborne. And right at that point in time, the left engine quit. Now we got a single engine, and we aren't even at cruising speed. We're at takeoff speed. It's slow, low and slow, and I've got a 150-foot tree right in front of us on the left-hand side, and another one on the right-hand side. We've got to go through that needle in order to get free, and we can't out climb the top of the trees. But I never saw a guy move his hands so fast in my life as I saw that pilot. He was good. His reaction time was excellent as far as single engine recovery, because he held his right rudder to hold it straight, and it sashayed a little bit, but he got it straight and kept the wings level, and we went between the trees and climbed out a little bit, came on around and made a very careful landing, and that was it for that guy. That was the
How
last
did you
time I saw
know
that.
he was Air America? Did you say they would say that on the side of the plane?
Airplane said Air America.
Ah, okay. Well, it's pretty plain.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I have an inexhaustible supply of questions, but I'll show mercy on you and ask some of them next time, because
Okay.
I got so much I want to ask. Not every day you get to talk to a veteran. That's an amazing story, brother. You want some amazing? I got one. Let me to finish that story though. Did they at least give you some hydrogen peroxide to put on that cut or that bite?
No, they didn't do anything to it.
I'd be pouring copious amounts. That's my friend. Is hydrogen peroxide. If it bubbles, it's my friend. It's killing bacteria.
Yeah.
I love hydrogen peroxide. It saved my life many a time.
Well, I think they did put some iodine on it.
Yeah, iodine is typically their
So,
go-to, but peroxide bubbles, it's killing bacteria.
Well,
Oh, my goodness. Remind me to tell you the story of the time I made a mistake of having a pedicure on the beach in Cartagena, Colombia.
oh,
Next
dear
time.
heavens.
Bad.
Okay.
Almost bad. How do people contact your ministries?
We've got it up on the screen.
Okay, for those
Okay.
that will be tuning into the MP3, give that out audibly.
Okay, with mine, the website is Alive on the Edge. all one word, .com. And the email is tom at aliveontheedge.com. And I've got a couple of nonfiction books. One of them is kind of an autobiography, and it's got some of my experiences in Vietnam on it. And the other one and it's called Alive on the Edge. And the other one is The Sharp Edge of the Sword, which is the edge of the sword is a word of God, by the way, if you haven't been familiar with that particular connection of that phrase. And
So they can get those books from the website,
they
aliveontheedge.com?
they can get them both
Oh,
from the website, and you can
okay.
get them from Amazon, either one.
Okay.
And with the sharp edge of the sword, it's the actual word of God that He gave me in the spirit, in words, and in visions. Those three ways that God has communicated with me throughout my life.
Friends, get these books. You can get them on the website, aliveontheedge.com. If you want to email Brother Tom, tom at aliveontheedge.com. And Brother Mac, how do people reach you in your ministry?
Okay, we've got a whole bunch of stuff here. It's tom.mack, tom.mack at whitestonefoundation.org. And that's also the website, whitestonefoundation.org, bible-codes.com, bible-music.com, ancient-evil.org, warfare-prayers.org, and also I have Olaf Hagee's website up there,
Mm-hmm.
thetimequest.com.
And how can people support your ministry?
I've got financial support, Cash App, $Whitestone609, Venmo at Ghost Talk 8, or PayPal, it's hatespickles at comcast.net.
Brother, we know how to break you. We don't need to waterboard you. We're just going to hold you down and feed you pickles. You should not telegraph that. That is his Achilles heel. Get some gherkins, pickles, and he'll tell everything. Gentlemen, I love and appreciate both of you. Thank you for coming on tonight. What shall we call this program? Omega Man took
Current
you off the rails?
events.
Okay,
Current events.
Current events, yeah.
You want to close us in prayer?
Yes. Heavenly Father, name of Yahushua HaMashiach, we just come before you tonight. We just thank you for the privilege of having this program and for having us on and allowing us to tell the stories of what's going on in the world. And thank you for providing that information to us. And we just ask right now that you bless everyone who is listening tonight and let them see the light of your word.
Yes, Lord.
And again, we thank you for Shannon and for everything he's able to do to get us on.
Thank you, Jesus.
And just thank you that we're both here. We've both
Yes.
had some close calls in our lives, but we're here and we thank you for that opportunity.
Yes, Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Love both of you gentlemen. It's an honor to be here with you. Folks, every Sunday, Tom Mack and Tom Beard are with us, and this will be up in the live tab of YouTube right away. God bless you both, guys. Get some rest, and
Bless.
God made you to hold a lot of pee, just like a camel. Now you can go to the bathroom
Sounds
Okay.
good.
before your eyeballs float down the street. Okay.
Okay.
See you next time.
God bless.
God made the Omega Man half camel, too. I can hold it a long time. Folks, I love you. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in.
calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executeth my counsel from a far country. Yes, I have spoken it. I will also bring it to pass. I have purposed it. I will also do it. You are listening to OMEGAMAN with Shannon Ray Davis. Jesus Christ is Lord, and no demon is safe. Listening to OMEGAMAN with Shannon Ray Davis. Jesus Christ is Lord, and no demon is safe. Listening to OMEGAMAN with Shannon Ray Davis. Jesus Christ is Lord, and no demon is safe. Listening to OMEGAMAN with Shannon Ray Davis. Jesus Christ is Lord, and no demon is safe.